Hi everyone, welcome to Harsha Trainings. So today I have come up with video on interfaces. So in this video we are going to discuss using interface within an interface. And next one, how to reuse the interface rules. And next one, how to pass variables from one to another objects. Let's move on to the session.
So till yesterday, we have designed two interfaces. One interface was to display the list of the available inventories that we have in our system available in our database, and we also designed one of interface where we are, trying to place an order, right? And then we are listing the items and then asking the user to put the quantity, and and then total price is 50, right? Fine. So once you select this the items, right, like, so you will also get some of the, we'll see, I mean, how to put the validation, right? So now let's, for example, so let me see. Okay, if I go and select item called pen, so we have this index selected, right? The selected item that is saving into an index, the ID is 1, right? So what we can do now for ID 1, right? If you go to the list of the items, this is the ID 1 that is get selected, and it's a pen in the blue color, right? And the item quantity is 500, right? What if you order more than 500? You should not be right, because in inventory only 500s are there. So you can put a condition like it shouldn't more than 500, right? Or there's a further condition like, don't allow the user to select more than um, two two pieces or 5 pieces, whatever is the condition you can put it. So for, like right now we have 500 available, so we should not be providing 500, right? So let's do one thing, that validation we can put it. So we will see how to put a validation. So we need to put the quantity field. This is the quantity field, right? And then there is a parameter called validation. All right. So let me do one thing. Available quantity. All right. So this is the available quantity variable I have created. Now on click of the item, right? On click of the item name, what we will do, we will perform a bank save into the available quantity, and I will say index. I'll just copy this thing, index of, because if you remember, we are saving the item price the same way we are going to save the available quantity as well. So it says item quantity. All right. So what we are doing here is we are saying whatever user is selecting, is there says and say close pattern. Okay. Somewhere it's has the close pattern. Oh yeah, we have put it the wrong place. After the save here, we need to put. Okay. So once you select the item, right, we need to provide the quantity. Why? This is then save into. This is another save into is the issue. That's okay. Was this error was there before? Let's see. No. So we are defining one variable called local available quantity, right? And then while selecting the item price, we will save the value to the available quantity, and the value will be item quantity. All right. Okay. So you guys know, right? Index function we have seen yesterday. So now if I go and select this item 1, it will say the available quantity is 500. If I go and select the pen black, it will say the quantity is 300, right? So on click of these items, we are getting our dynamic quantities for the item selected, right? So now we can put the validation. Okay, so we have the values available in the available quantity, right? We can go to the quantity field now. Yeah, and here we can put the validation. Let's say validation. We say if your local selected quantity is greater than local available quantity, then please order, please provide the quantity less than ampersand, sorry, uh, this thing, right? Else, no error message. So, getting a point, what I'm trying to do. So here we'll say that to integer, just to make sure it's taking the type of to integer, and here it will say to integer. Okay, so what I have done, I've just while selecting these items, we have stored the quantity of these items in the local variable, and whenever user is providing the item here, we are trying to compare. If it is greater than the available quantity, then please provide a quantity less than. I'm giving this that count as well, right? So let's go and select, like I'm going to select pen. Now I don't know how many I want to order, 1,000 pieces, right? And then I'll say this, and it will say please provide a quantity less than 500, because we have the 500 in our stock. So if I say 500, message will be gone, right? Now if you put like 501, you will get this message. All right, get it? How to put the validation on the field? Any doubt? Guys, any doubt?
No doubt.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no doubt.
Thank you. So this is how we can put the validation. So let's save this rule. Rule is saved now. Now what we need to do actually, right? So we have to collect all this thing and within one screen. Now we also need to have this screen, right? We need to have a button called add button. Sorry, add button. So whenever you
Ravi,
put this item, yeah,
suppose if I
yeah.
put the quantity as 50.5,
Mhm. But you cannot order a full pen and half pen, right? It
no,
The
no,
provided
no,
value is not an integer.
just for
Yeah,
the validation. Okay,
yeah. It's an integer field, so you have to put some valid number. I
okay,
mean, valid integer number.
okay.
Okay. So now we need to have a button called add here, right? Whenever you click on add, this item should be get added, right? Now, where this item should be get added? We cannot, we cannot add it into like pieces, right? In like multiple local variables, right? We should be having one CDT customer data type, so we can collectively, get all this information, right? So what we can do now, we can we can design one table, right? We can design one table. We can name that as order, right? IMS underscore order, right? So the one I will have, the first one will have the primary key and auto increment. So we can name that as um, ID, right? That should be number, and also the primary key, right? And then we can have no, this we can name as order ID, right? Because it's going to be auto increment, so this is an order ID. And then we can have item. So one order can have multiple details, right? Okay, now what we can do is, if we put the same thing here, it will have multiple items, right? So I'm just thinking we need to cover here multiple items. So let's have one more table called IMS underscore order item, right? And here we will have ID, which will be number, and then primary key, right? And then we will have order ID, right? We're trying to put two tables, one for the order and one for the order items. So order ID, this order ID will be the same of this one. Okay, it will be number integer, and then we will have item. So item, that will go as a number integer because we will capture the IDs, and we will have the item quantity. This is again going to be number integer, and then we will have this quantity, and then we will have price, right? Look, guys, give me 1 second. Okay, so we will have price, like it's going to be decimal, and what else? That is all right. Item we have, quantity, this is all we need. Okay, and here we will have order ID, and then we will have order date. All right, that is gonna be our date, and then order status. All right, and then we will have total price. Okay, and then we can have what else? That is all right. This is enough. Okay, I mean, we can have created by, and then order date will be the created on date, so we can make it. All right, so this is the two tables we now need it, right? Because we need to capture those data, and then we need to proceed with that, right? So let's go and first create this table, IMS order items, and then IMS order, and then we will proceed. Okay, okay, so let's go and create IMS order. So we will go to our database. Creating table is very easy. I'll say new. I give the name as IMS underscore order. How many columns we need? I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 4. One more. Yeah. So now it will have order ID. It's going to be number integer. It's going to be primary along with the auto increment. Okay. And then we have order date, order status. So we have order date. It's going to be date. Initially it can be null. We have order status. Let's put it as a varchar of like 25 characters long, and then we have total price and created by. We have total price, which can be decimal, and then we have called created by. Let's put as a varchar of 100 characters long. So all this can be initially null, so I put this. Okay, save. So this table is created now. If I go for IMS order, we have it, right? Now let's create another table. click on new, and the name will be IMS order items. Okay, and here we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here as well. So let's click one more column. So we will have ID, we will have order ID. So this ID will going to be auto increment and primary key. Order ID will have like condition of foreign key. We'll have item. So item ID you can mention. It's going to be number integer, item ID, and then quantity and price. So we'll say quantity and price, right? We need price because we already have this price. Let's say total price, because total price, what we need it. That's what I'm thinking. Because we already have this total price here, right? So we don't need the price to be provided here. Okay, let's remove this. I don't need it. Okay, this all can be null initially, so we'll say save. Okay, let's go to the table. We are ready with our table ID, order ID, item ID, and quantity. Okay, now let's go and create the CDT for this all our tables we have created, right? So we'll say data type. So new and go click on data type. We are going to create data type from the table or view. We'll say template table and then table name IMS underscore order, right? Click on continue. Holds the order details. All right. Now if we need to do some changes like order ID, I just do the camel casing. Copy paste it from there. Okay, now you guys know, right, how to create the data store and how to add the entity, right? So I'm not going to do manually now. It's automatically suggests you have a one data store created. Do you want to create a entity for you? Yes, I want to create it by default. I mean, automatically, I don't want to create manually. So this is the type, this is the entity name. I'll say create. If you want to put something here, let me check what we have given the first entity so you don't confuse. Store, we have given the name underscore entity as well, right? So that what we can do, we can make a change here when they will do as an entity. This is going to be our entity name. So right now, if you see here, we just have only one, right? Let me close this, and then from here, I'll just say create. Okay. Now, if we open this data store, you will see one more has been created. IMS order, right? If you verify, it should be publishing. Yes, say enter this. And then CDT is also created. If you go here, you will be able to see the CDT is created. Now let's go and create another CDT that is for the IMS order items. Yes, let's say continue. Holds the list of ordered items. Same thing, camel casing, we need to do it. That is fine. And I want to create a data store. So create. Okay. So now CDT is created.
Ravi,
Yeah. Go
Ravi,
ahead.
right now we are having small data. I mean, like order ID, quantity, like that. Only fields are less, right? That is, I mean, you are just copying and pasting the both fields are looking same, and you're copying and pasting it there, right?
Mm-hmm.
If what if we have more fields? In that case, again we need to do that manually, or anything that
No, no, no.
both value.
See, the best practice suggests even if you leave that like that, it is right in all are in small. That is okay. You don't get any
Okay.
error. But Appian suggests, please, to pass the variable name or CDT parameters name as a camel casing. So for that,
Okay.
you have to do that. I mean, as a best practice. But if you leave it,
Okay.
that does not create any issue.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. No problem. Okay, so now we have created this IMS order items and IMS order as well, right? So what we can do now, we need to design one button, right? I'll tell you why we have done all those things. Now we need to add one button here. All right. So we will design that button. After this one, we say Appian button layout, right? In this button layout, we will have the primary button. So primary buttons is used to create the buttons on your right side of the screen. Secondary button will be used to design your button on the left side of the screen. Okay. So we will have Appian button widget. All right. And label, we will say add. Okay. You can see the screen as well. Button is getting created, add. And then I will say style. You can put some style. So if you don't remember what's the style, you can go to your description window and from here you can see, right? So style, I'll say primary button. So all will become in blue, right? And then we can have submit. So we are not going to submit this form. So we'll say submit as false, right? Do not submit this form by using this button. Let it be just a normal button. All right. Now let's put some more style. If you have, we have size. It's a not a I mean, the button that is used to submit the form will make size as small. All right. So this is fine. And then yeah, that's all. Then we have to do all those save intos, right? And what we need to do into save into. Okay. In the save into, we have to perform. Let's create an RI, the rule input, because we need to pass this information, whatever user is doing from this form to the other form. So we'll say order items, right? Order items. Now you tell me what is the type I need to select here. Anyone can tell me what will be the type of this variable, the rule input that I'm creating? Any guess?
Text type.
No, it will be of IMS underscore order items, right? We created this CDT, right? So we can capture all those information in one place. So order items is going to be a CDT, right? So what will happen whenever user click on add button? So we have to perform multiple save intos, right? And we need to save it, right? So we'll say Appian save, right? In my RI order items, please save this thing. So we can define the type of IMS underscore order items, right? It has certain parameters, so it will give you all the list of the parameters. So ID will be null initially because it's an auto increment, it's a primary key, so we will put that null. And then we have order ID. This is also going to be null because right now we don't have this order ID with us. And then we have item ID. Item ID, that will be our local selected item. And then we have quantity. That will be our local selected quantity. Get it? Now, so let's see if let me click here, test interface. Right now, order items is null. I'm going to select an item here and say 20 and click on add. Now you see we have one details which says, okay, you have one items in your order list. That item ID is 1 and quantity is 20. 1 is for the black. Got it? Now it's not like user can add only one items, right? So what we can do, we can add multiple items as well. So what we can do is we can do it here append. So whatever user is doing, just append the value that we already have it along with this new value. Control X, Control V. Okay. Now If user is going to select a click on add button, right? If user is going to click on add button, this all fields should also become null, right? Isn't it? So what we can do, on click of this save into of this add button, we will perform a bank save, right? And like local selected quantity item will become null, right? We are just doing the null. Second thing, local selected quantity also become null. Now there are certain variables we are calculating, right? We are certain values that we are calculating is that local item price, that will be null, because initially this all should be null. And then we also have something called what are the values? Let me check. Total price and available quantity. Total price will also become null, and then available quantity will also become null, right? So now let's go and test the interface. Okay, now we'll see here the order in items are null right now. I'm going to select 10. I'll say quantity 10 pieces, and I'll click on add. So one item is added here. You will see the one item is added here, and this all this field become null, right? Now I'll go and select copy. I'll say 5 pieces. Total price is 250, and I'll click on add. Now it has 2 items. It become null. Getting a point? Any doubt? Any issues? If you have, please ask. Okay. Any doubt, guys? How we are adding and why we are becoming null? Okay. Now this, this screen is done. We got our things what we need to do. Now let's move to the other screen. We will create one more screen now to combine all those things. We'll see interface. Place order form. Okay. This interface will be used to place an order. All right, I will store into the IMS interface rule. Let's say create. All right. Now what we can do, we can create a form here. So we'll drag this form layout here. All right, and here we can see the name. So I'll check. I'll say it's IMS inventory order form, right? And then here we can have one section, and within this section I just give the name as available inventories. All right, and then we can have another section. Here I will give the name as item selection. All right. Okay, let's go to the expression mode now. So we have these two. This interface is created for us, and all the code you will be able to see here. This code has been designed. Now the first section layout, it says available inventories, right? So remember, we already created one rule called display IMS display inventories, right? This is the rule. This is used to display our available inventories, isn't it? So we will call this rule there. That's the reason we have created a separate rule, so we can reuse it everywhere. So we'll say rule bank IMS available inventories, and it has one parameter called inventories that we need to pass, and that we will pass by creating a local variable here. So if we say local variable, all right, we'll put everything there inside this local variable, all right, and then we declare one local variable called local inventories. And if you guys remember, we created one query rule which was returning the entire inventories list. So let me close this and then we'll call it here. So initially we need entire inventories, and then we will pass this local inventories now to this rule where it needed. So as soon as I pass the valid data, it started displaying all those data. All right. So we have this available inventories. Now if we want, it's repetitive information. So list of items. Right. Okay. So this is how we display the form, and we can see, okay, these are the items, so user can refer. Okay, we have pen of blue color of this 500, and I need to have this right here. All right. Now in the second section, we are seeing item selection. So what we can do, we can call our second rule that we have created, item select order. So we just call this rule here. We'll say rule bang, the rule of name of that rule, and it has certain parameters which we need to pass. We'll see these two parameters we need to pass. Okay, so now you see, again here we have to pass this local inventories. If we made this not parameter and we use this within the within this rule, then we have to make another query rule right there. But now we don't have to do it because we just want to reduce our query rule. So we are doing it at the parent level and passing that information wherever is needed. Now order items, we don't have order items now, so we can create a rule input here because we need to pass this information to the process model level. So we'll say order items. This will be of type IMS underscore order items and will be a multiple, right? So I will pass RI order items. Okay. Now you see, it's created. Everything is done. I mean, the parent form is ready. It says IMS order form. I can see the list of items available, and now if I say item selection, I say copy. I'll say 10 pieces, and I'll say click on add. It will get added here. I'll say pencil, I'll say 2 pieces, and I'll say add. I can get these 2 items, right? This is how we can get the items. And then when user click on all the items, we can click on submit and we can proceed for the task. All right. Any doubt till here, guys? Speak up, guys. You guys are not asking a single question. I mean, why we are calling this rule here, how we are passing this information, what is the use of this? No doubt? Okay.
So we
Yeah, sorry, one by one. Go ahead, Neera.
Today I didn't understand too much. There's so much things going on.
So then you should be asking, right? That is what I'm keep talking. Please ask questions. Please ask questions. If you don't ask the questions, you will be this like, I mean, either I have to end up with repeating the sessions, otherwise you will be on blank, right? Should be asking this question. So tell me which part you didn't understand. Did you understand everything with this form? What we have done here?
Yes, yes, I understood.
You understood everything here, right? No
Yes,
issues, right? Okay.
yes.
So you remember, so which part here, what part you didn't understand?
So many things bind together. Uh, I will see this video, then I will ask tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. Who else? This one, you have something?
Yeah, even I mean, I was confused with this IMS inventory order form you just created. I mean, before that, I mean, till that we until add button, I am okay.
Mm-hmm.
After that, what happening is I'm little confused how we are. What is I mean, the
So
process
you
we
need
are
to
going
ask
right?
questions, right? You need to stop me.
Yeah,
Okay. The first,
yeah,
okay. So first thing is that we designed this interface, right? And there
yeah,
was nothing. This blank section layouts was there, and then these two buttons that was created automatically by using that layout, right?
yeah.
Okay. So if you guys remember, we can always call a role within a role. That is the use of the uh, uh, you know reusing of the existing roles, right? So this interface was designed already. We designed in the purpose so we can reuse it everywhere if we need it. So that's why we design as a one interface where we are displaying this data, right? And if you remember, the data that I created, the data that I was passing, it was a rule input. So this was the rule input that we have created. Let me open this rule. This is the name of the rule input that we created, which is reflecting here. Okay, so if any interface has any rule input, it will suggest you, okay, you are calling this interface, it needs one data to be passed. So this data we are passing it from here now. For testing purpose, if you remember, we provided this data in the testing panel. So in the from the testing panel we are getting this information, right? So now the testing panel is only for the on while designing the screen you can see the data, that is what the purpose is. But now we have created an RI rule input. We are passing this data from now. We are calling this local variable, and in this local variable we are getting the query data, which is returning the entire inventory, and we are passing that entire inventory to this form. So when I pass this data to this form, if I don't pass it, let's say I pass as null, we don't have any no items available, right? So I'll pass this local inventories, because in this local inventories we have all our inventory data, right? So now it is started displaying the information. The same way, this interface we designed, right? This interface we designed to place an order, I mean select an item, right? We are calling that interface at this level. So we can combining these two interfaces at one place.
Okay.
What is this is about? These are two rule inputs. If you open this rule, so if you
This is
open
the
this rule, you will
what?
see, yeah.
Yeah, I mean the items whatever we added with all.
Yes, so we are passing two rule inputs. We have created two rule inputs here: inventories and order items.
Yeah.
Those two you will be able to see here, right? So it
Okay.
means it says, so whenever you create a rule input, right? The purpose of rule input is that you can pass the information and you can also retrieve the information. It's like two-way handshaking, right?
Okay.
So I am passing this RI order items to here. Inventories we already have it, right? We don't have to create another query because we already have this information available to my parent form. So we don't have to make it everywhere this query, otherwise the form will be get slow, right? So we are
Okay.
calling once and we are using is every places. So you see we are using it this form as well, we are using it this form as well. So we are passing this local inventories, and order items needs to be selected, I mean whatever user has given. So we are whatever user is capturing here, that we are appending to our order items rule
Okay.
input, right? And this information we will pass to the process model where we can write data to the database. Okay.
Okay.
So now we have this submit button and cancel buttons created automatically, right? So we may need to have create one more local variable. So we'll say, I mean rule input, we'll say button action, that is gonna be type of boolean, because here we have the boolean, right? So when user click on submit, uh, let's do one thing. Let's It's a boolean, right? So when user will click on submit, the value will be true, and we will save this value, save into to my RI button action. So if user will click on submit, then the value will be true. When user click on cancel, I'll make this value as false, and then we will save into RI button action. Okay, so why we are happening doing this thing? Okay, so if we click on
Ravi,
cancel, it's false. Yeah.
see, here you are passing the value as true and value as false, right? What these values will do? I mean, what is the purpose of giving that values?
We'll see. We'll see what will the purpose of this one. We will see that.
Okay.
See, when you go to the process model level, right, you need to decide user has taken what action, is cancel or submit. Sorry. If user has clicked on cancel, you don't have to perform anything, right? You just have to close the form. If user has clicked on submit, then we have to perform certain operations, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, I can feel that it's going to be too much for you guys, but it's very small things. Just go through the videos, design your own form, collect it in one parent form, and then click on sub. I mean, do it till here, and we'll see how to proceed. Okay.